decisions to which you participated in your 28 years on the Supreme Court. You have heard hundreds of appeals on a wide range of issues involving different statutes and all of that. Maybe you won't be able to answer my question, but I would love to have an answer. We have many judges here who can issue an order to force you to answer. Est-ce qu'il y a une décision ou quelques décisions dont vous êtes la plus fière?
Well, when I was asked this, when I was still on the bench, I'd always say, it's the one I'm working on now. You know, even though I was a judge for such a long time, and I'm sure Suzanne would share this, the case you're actually working on, and Malcolm and other judges in the room, the case you're actually working on one is the one that's consuming your passion and imagination, and c'est la cause le plus important du monde. But you know, after a number of years and after being away, you look back and you reflect, and I think a couple of areas that really I am proud of the court on, and I don't speak only for myself. I think the Supreme Court of Canada, if I can say that, has done a wonderful job for Canadians and even jurisprudence beyond in setting an example in a couple of areas and really making jurisprudence that has helped individuals and has helped this country. And one is the area of Indigenous, les autochtones. When I began judging, there was really no law on this subject. And the Supreme Court, along with other courts, had to figure out how, under Section 35 and the Charter, what the legal structure should be for things like practices, Indigenous land claims, and many, many other issues. And this was enormously important work. It's work that's not finished. Suzanne va continuer, et Malcolm, et les autres dans la chambre. Mais it was very, very important work because I think it was important to lay out a structure that would provide a viable basis for Indigenous people and non-Indigenous Canadians to work out a way to live together in the future. And the whole paradigm of reconciliation, the path of reconciliation on which we're now engaged, has flowed along with and from those decisions. Tony Lemaire, mon juge en chef, at the time, finished Delgamuc by saying, talking about reconciliation and saying, let's face it, we're all here to stay. And that was important work, but there was a lot of detailed work, difficult legal work, working out how, you know, things like consultation and reconciliation and the basic land titles kind of structures would work out. And that was very good jurisprudence, I think. I mean, there may be those who beg to differ, but I would say whether you like the decisions or not, it was high-level jurisprudence, and I'm proud of that. And I'm also proud, looking back, of the seminal role the court played in advancing social issues like the right of gay people to be recognized and have equal benefits. And in the end, it was Parliament that passed the Gay Marriage Act, but it was very important that the courts set the tone and set out the values that would motivate that, and other social issues, the right to assistance in dying, and many others, like inside the right to have a place where you can have safety if you're an addict. These issues matter to me because they touched a lot of lives. And you know, you don't realize it when you're a judge, you just send out the decision. And after I retired, I was riding the bus in Vancouver on Main Street, which is near where my apartment is, and it's a bit of a dodgy area. Andres Guerin will tell you that. And but I got on the bus, and this man who looked like he hadn't slept in a bed for 2 or 3 weeks, got on opposite me, and he was staring, and I was a little uncomfortable, and I looked away, and finally he said, "You're Beverly McLaughlin." I said, "Yes." And then he said, in the most articulate English, he said, "I want to thank you for everything you did." And he went on to talk about some of these things, and I thought, I got off the bus very, very humbled. And I thought, I almost looked away from that man, and he was one of the most articulate followers of some of our cases that I had ever met. And we were just a few blocks from Insight. We were just a few blocks from some of the legal clinics where I knew people were doing really good work to further our work with Indigenous people and others. And I was very, very humbled and very touched. So I realized since retirement that, these issues often impact many, many people's lives in a very real way. And so I've learned to take some pride in the fact that I was part of that process, along with 8 other judges.